Chris the Cowell, Wilderness Adventures, Three Top Twins. The twins meet a quagga. The sun beat down on the slicing savanna, and the grass is humming with busy insects. The Treetop family had taken their time machine and traveled back in time to 18th century to the grasslands of South Africa. One bright blue day, the big twins Arthur and Asha were looking after the little twins, Tulip and Ted. Their parents, Professor Pablo and Professor Penelope, were taking a nap. When the professors woke up, the Treetop family were going to spend the evening at the nearby waterhole to see what animals were living in an African savanna at that time. There will be Tita, said Asha. And ostrich says, I feel. And lions and elephants, said Ted. Don't forget the unicorn, said Tulip. Don't be silly, laughed Ted. Only babies believe in unicorns. I feel and Asha were laughing too, which made Tulip very cross. I'll show them I'm not a baby, said Tulip to himself. I'll go down to the waterhole and look for unicorns on my own. So when the others were looking, Tulip decided to walk to the waterhole by himself. She found a hill to hide behind and ducked down out of sight. From her hiding place, she spotted an ostrich and wildebeest and a herd of creatures she had never seen before. Tulip can see them properly because there were some trees in the way. From the side, they looked a little bit like horses, but they were much smaller, so they must be a unicorn, said Tulip triumphantly. I knew it. Meanwhile, Ifu and Asha and Ted had noticed that Tulip was missing. They woke up Professor Penelope and Professor Pablo, and they all hurried to the waterhole. They crept up very quietly so as not to disturb the animals and peered over Tulip's shoulder. I'm sorry I called you a baby, whispered Ted. And I'm sorry I ran up without telling you where I was going, whispered Tulip. But look, I did find some unicorns. Just one of those strange creatures turned towards them and did not have a horn. Oh, said Tulip, feeling disappointed. It isn't a unicorn after all, but it did have something else interesting. It had stripes, but not all over it, just on its front half. It's a quagga, said Professor Penelope. It's about the size of a zebra, but with stripes only on front half of its body. Why is it called a quagga? asked Tulip. The quagga opened up his mouth and made a noise. Quagga! That must be why, grinned Ted. But the quagga had made that noise for a reason. There were 3 beautiful golden lionesses padding towards the waterhole. The lionesses prowled closer, but the quaggas had already been alerted. Quagga! they cried as they all ran away. All except for one, a baby who couldn't run quite fast enough. "Oh no," cried Tulip. "They're going to catch it." They all said, "Quagga." But then something amazing happened. A great big wildebeest saw a baby quagga was in trouble. It stepped forward and shook his enormous horns at the lioness. The lionesses were scared, and now it was their turn to run away. "Phew," said I feel. "Why did the big wildebeest save the baby quagga? We all have to look after the babies even if they aren't yours," said Asha, putting her arm around Tulip. "I'm not a baby," said Tulip. But she smiled and hugged Asha anyway. And then the treetop family walked back home through the cooling grass for dinner. Nighttime in the savannah. Professor Pablo was putting the twins to bed. "I'm so glad we got to travel back in time and meet the quagga," said Archo, who had drawn a picture of one in her notebook. "Me too," said Professor Pablo, turning the lights off. "Sorry it wasn't a unicorn, Tulip, but it was almost as good. I wonder what year and what place we have to travel to see a unicorn," said Tulip to himself. "One day I'll find a unicorn, just you wait and see." The end.